and thanks for staying with us. Customs seized trucks of rice worth millions of naira along the nation's borderline. Also on Customs report, Customs continue to seize trucks from smugglers operating within the port. Plus, more report. I am Igiseme Etinye. Stay tuned.
The Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, in collaboration with the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, NIIA, has taken a significant step towards enhancing the country's trade and investment landscape with the launch of the Bashir Adeniyi Center for International Trade and Investment. The center, named after the Comptroller General of Customs CGC Adewale Adeniyi, was inaugurated in Lagos at the NIIA, with the CGC expressing optimism about the center's potential, saying it comes at an opportune time as Nigeria is repositioning itself in the global trade environment.
About balancing, ensuring balancing in our role as a regulator and a generation of revenue. And I think His Excellency Donald Duke put it so well that you cannot continue to breathe in only. As you breathe in, you must also breathe out. We could go back a little bit in history. In 2001, as a response to the event of the bombing of the Twin Towers, and the customs community came up and said, look, we have to institute a number of measures to protect the international supply chain. So a number of measures were instituted, but along the line, customs has always been reminded that while we do this, we must also ensure that we facilitate trade. So a number of tools were developed by the World Customs Organization to provide guidance, support, capacity building for customs administrations, so that as they pursue the mandate of generating revenue, they also ensure that trade is not affected by the conduct of trade. One of the ways in which we can do this is through periodic engagement. And I have not missed any word in ensuring that I pursue the mandate of engaging with all our various stakeholders at every level. In fact, the preceding year, 2003, 2023, 24-25, was declared as International Year of Stakeholder Engagement by the World Customs Organization. And we gave meaning to this. About less than a kilometer away from here, we had the Continental Hotel, where we gathered all our stakeholders about a year ago. And we called them to this conference, a big conference, and we opened up to them. What are your fears? What are your apprehensions? What are your challenges? And over a period of 2 days, they spoke to us, and we came up with a document, a Lagos Declaration, the Lagos Continental Declaration, where issues were highlighted, the role of customs, the role of organized private sector, and we made sure that every quarter I meet with them to see what we have done in the implementation of this particular document. Some of the issues raised in those documents include, oh, you need fewer numbers of checkpoints. We're doing that. Or you need to collapse all your structures, those ones that are doing enforcement. We also did that. We also followed up with development of some tools, implementations of some tools, which are used in other customs administrations, the Authorized Economic Operator Program, the advanced ruling, and things like that. So these are all things that we have done. Concretely, there are some sectors that we needed to engage directly and know where their shoe pinch. For example, the Healthcare Federation of Nigeria, because they account for about 25-30% of what we import into Nigeria, to make sure that we address their challenges in the port. And an outcome of that is the executive order which the federal government has issued out to grant duty concession and establish a free corridor for clearance of healthcare products in Nigeria. We also followed through with engagement with SMEDAN, because we know that this is the group that can provide the much needed exports that we needed for our country. We're also engaging with AFTA to ensure that we give a very free and easy access to customs procedures in our ports. So we are also getting into the use of several tools that can facilitate trade. What we have shown with this effort is that it is possible for Nigeria Customs Service to play this role of trade facilitator without compromising revenue. And I'm very happy that over the last 1 year, our numbers, our performance in all of those basic mandate areas has shown that we can eat our cake and still have it.
In his welcome address, the Director General of NIA, Professor Egosa Osagai, acknowledged that the center will serve as a finishing school for senior customs officers. He added that the Bashir Adeniyi Center for International Trade and Investment will be offering senior executive courses that will be certificated to properly immerse the Nigerian Customs Service in the framework of the World Customs Organization.
The Bashir Adeniyi Center for International Trade and Development and Investment, which is the latest in the NIA's redoubling stable. Since 2021, the NIA has moved on one chapter higher on the notch to diversify into centers of excellence. What we have today is the latest of those centers. As you come in, you will see the Center for Early Warning. And that's the endowment of the former Chief of Defense Staff, General Leo Irabo. We have also a Center for Ocean Governance that is in the making. Today, we have the Center for International Trade and Investment. And as you come into this place, you will find to your left or right, depending on where you're coming in from, the Center for Culture and Diplomacy that has been endowed by Prince Adewale Adebayo. There will be occasion to speak about that endowment, but I'm happy to announce to us that this is the first new building in the NIIA since 1993. A few months ago, we invited the Comptroller General of Customs to deliver a distinguished lecture at the NIIA. And that occasion, we conferred on him the fellowship of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, the FNIIA, because we saw in him a most worthy Comptroller General. Now, times define people, but people also define times. He has become Comptroller General at a time when so much is happening, not only in Nigeria, but also across Africa and across the entire world of trade and investment and development. He has been around and everywhere, proving that he is actually a man of the moment. So we thought that the capacity that he has started building should be anchored institutionally. And the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs approached him to say, we want to partner with you and with the Nigerian Customs Service to create a special unit at the NIIA to strengthen the capacities that you already have as Customs Service, to drive the new things that are required for the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, the reforms that customs would have to go through because of the new trade regime, the kinds of things that we are experiencing in the WTO, the World Trade Organization, and the kinds of demands that are now on the customs to respond to these challenges and acquit our Nigerian Customs Service as the leading customs service in Africa. And he gave us a listening ear. That was the beginning of the journey that we are celebrating today. Today, we are very pleased as an institute to announce to the world that we now have the Bashir Ateni Center for International Trade and Investment. In a moment, we will go into the second phase of this gathering by going to declare open and inaugurate that center. But we will precede that with a roundtable of eminent Nigerians who would address issues of trade facilitation. What is the NIIA offering in return? This center is going to be a finishing center for the senior executive people in the customs.
Speaking on the benefits of the center, the CGC emphasized its importance, saying there is a strong commitment to the mandate of trade facilitation, among other things.
One of the things that we addressed in the hall today is that over the years, we seem to have paid more attention to generating revenue for its own sake. But what I've seen in the last 1 year is that, well, it is good that we are revenue focused, but we stand better, we would gain better if we address issues around uh, enhancing trade and creating the right environment for trade to prosper. And we've done that in the last 1 year, and we have seen that, yes, we can actually generate more revenue where we increase turnaround period, when we reduce the costs and the time it takes to do business. So this is one major lesson that we have learned, that we need to do more regarding the attention that we give to facilitation of trade. It is not just going to be something that customs alone will do. It has to be something that all other agencies of government must be hands on deck with us, so that we know that when we give certain concessions, when we hasten processes, when we deploy automation, we are not compromising revenue. We are doing so because we want to reduce the time and the cost of doing business so that it will translate into more revenue for the country. I feel humbled. I feel honored. I feel, I am indeed very delighted that my effort has been recognized by the Institute, and I say a very big thank you to them. Uh, but then, like we said, uh, the center is now going to provide a kind of intersection between research, trade facilitation, and revenue generation. So I'm happy that my personality was used to name the center and all of that. But like I said, you know, we need to go beyond. It needs to go beyond me. It needs to go beyond customs. It needs to go beyond Nigeria. We need to extend this conversation beyond all of these shows to ensure that we all have the same mindset about trade facilitation. It's also very important that we know that if we compromise compliance and control, we will be losing the gains that we can get from trade facilitation. Our experience has always been that the organized private sector, some of them may want to cut corners in terms of compliance with regulatory controls, prohibitions, and all of that. But we have seen from our experience in the last 1 year that once we address the issues around trade facilitation, once we improve the environment under which trade is conducted, it's going to lead to improved turnover and it's going to lead to increased revenue.
The CGC, who unveiled the center and toured the facility, also expressed optimism that it will be a center of excellence in building capacity and, most importantly, create awareness about the necessity of conducting international trade to foster prosperity. The event featured a panel discussion with eminent Nigerians, including former Cross River State Governor Donald Duke and Dr. Chinyere Almona, examining the challenges and solutions for Nigeria's economy regarding trade and investment. The Senate Committee on Customs has commended the Apapa Area Command of the Nigerian Customs Service for its impressive revenue generation of over 1.82 trillion naira this year and proactive engagement with stakeholders. The committee made the commendation during an oversight visit to the command to assess operational progress, address challenges, and explore potential legislative support to boost customs efficiency. He said this commitment demonstrates the impact of effective revenue collection on the nation's economy as revenue generation remains a priority in President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, helping to reduce national debt and strengthens Nigeria's global standing.
Yeah, first, our visit here, has given us the opportunity to identify the major problems that they are having. Some of these problems range from enhanced digitalization of their programs, okay, to all forms of requests. Some has to do with scanners, some have to do with various other requests, which we have also gathered from the previous places that we went to. So what we intend to do is to articulate this request and make sure that they are properly inserted in the 2025 budget. Like I told you at the conference room, we will make available our report to the Comptroller General of Customs and impress on him that he should ensure that those requests are properly captured, okay, in the budget for 2025. Because we know that if those requests are addressed, okay, there will be quantum leap in the performance of the customs services in terms of revenue generation and in terms of anti-smuggling activities.
While briefing the committee on the command's activities, the Customs Area Comptroller Babatunde Olumu, reported that the revenue generated was over 1.82 trillion naira, which surpassed 1.17 trillion naira collected in 2023.
The CGC has always believed that an efficient, motivating system is very key towards the attainment of our organizational goals, and this was why we keyed into it, and we felt it's very important to recognize officers who had distinguished themselves one way or the other as far as the performance of various responsibilities is concerned. This will be the second series in the recognition we have given as a command to officers since my coming on board, and this had really gone a long way in ensuring that healthy rivalry is being ensured among our officers and men, as well as efforts towards the attainment of our revenue targets. And this was why we felt it's very important we recognize those of them that we have found to be worthy of recognition. We have an award committee which had brought forward names of officers, men that justify and merit this recognition.
He attributed the success to streamlined clearances.
The Comptroller General of Nigerian Customs Service has urged stakeholders in the maritime industry to continue to maintain cordial relationship with customs officers all over the country. He made the appeal in Lagos when stakeholders come together to work with members of the Nigerian Customs Service. The CG of Customs was represented at the conference in Lagos.
Privileged to welcome you all to this important sensitization workshop for the licensed custom representatives and boarded terminal operators. The Nigeria Customs Service has always been committed to enhancing service delivery and facilitate trade. And today's workshop is a significant step in that direction. This gathering provides us with a unique opportunity to share knowledge, exchange ideas, and strengthen our collaboration to improve the efficiency and effectiveness of our operations. I would like to extend my gratitude to the organizers, facilitators, and coordinators for their dedication, hard work in making this workshop a reality. Your efforts are highly, truly appreciated. Allow me to acknowledge the presence of our esteemed dignitaries here today. Your support and commitment to the goals of the NCS, Nigeria Customs Service, are invaluable. The agenda for today's workshop is packed with insightful sessions that will cover various aspects of customs operation, trade facilitation and compliance. We will hear from experienced officers and experts who will share their knowledge and provide guidance for the best practice.
While the stakeholders also speaks on the conference, saying that the Nigerian Customs Service has continued to improve from all aspects of life.
We want to use this opportunity to thank the CG for giving us this opportunity to attend this type of workshop. But like my own area of constituency, which is the same, the land borders, we have so many questions to ask from the CG as regards the free trade agreement with African countries. In the land borders, a lot of things happen. There are a lot of checkpoints that inhabit free trade that are going to go across the borders. And this corridor, the West Africa corridor, the West Coast corridor, there's what they call the ETLS. And when goods is going to other Africa country, or especially West Africa country, based on the agreement, we call the goods, when the goods leave the country of origin, we call it the country of export. And by the time it leaves your territory, it enters into Cotonou or going to Togo, going to Ghana, it becomes ETLS. So also the ones coming from other African countries. But the problem we have is, if these goods are being cleared at the land border in Seme, before it gets to Agbara, a lot of checkpoints, custom checkpoints. And the documentation is already completed, and this good keeps holding on the road. So it's inhabiting the free trade.
That this operation not only safeguard our economy, but also protect our local industry and create an environment where legitimate business can thrive. We understand the ripple effect of smuggling on the economy and the need to protect the interests of law-abiding citizens, especially in these trying times. And I have also tried in this command to educate my officers and men about the economy, the emptiness of our economy. Therefore, my officers here are not only customs officers, they're also managers of the economy. They can tell you when Nigerian economy is weak. As of 2022, we are only 121 trillion naira. An improved economy, a strong economy cannot be owing that kind of money. We have 200,000 kilometers of network road in Nigeria. As I'm talking to you, 80% of them are still bad. But India, within a period of 1 year, has contracted about 300 kilometers of road, 1,000 kilometers of road. That will also show you that it's a weak economy. You can also see weak economy in the banks. We are talking about 50 billion naira capitalization. While America, their highest bank, JP Morgan, is about $3.7 trillion worth of. Bank of America, $2.5 trillion. Fargo Bank is $1.7 trillion. So that's your weak economy. You can also weak economy in the production of steel you use in a country. With steel, you can manufacture cars and so on and so forth. So the amount of steel you consume shows the capacity of your economy. Nigeria consumes about 10 million metric tons every year, while America is consuming 89 million metric tons of steel. That means Nigeria is a weak economy. So when you don't understand that as an officer, You should be able to know how you operate. Hosea 4:6 said, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." And I don't want my officers to perish because of lack of knowledge. And many of them are now seeing me as a role model. And they are beginning to read, to research, and go to school.
In terms of time, what happened in PAR will still happen. I want to imagine that if documentation is fine, if there are no issues with documents that are submitted, what Bodogu promises us is even better infrastructure. So we are actually going to have a better, swifter processing of documents. I don't want you to hold me down to time now. What we are doing is that we are running a pilot. And as we run this pilot, we will take our lessons, we will make mistakes, we will correct them, we will see gaps, we will cover them, so that by the time we announce that we have finished pilot and we are willing to roll out, then you can hold us accountable when we say it takes us 2 hours, 3 hours to process PAR or to process entry declaration. But we know the record that we are meeting in PTML. In my submission, I told you that this is more of a model port. So in our discussions with the terminal operators, they have told us the apprehension and the concerns of their stakeholders that we are using this place as a guinea pig. So if they were getting their documentations and clearance done within 24 hours, and we are bringing a system that would, extend that time, then we know that we are not giving them something better than what they had before. So we are also very, very conscious of that. And I want to be sure that as our technical team, they are rolling out this out, they will bear this in mind.
We decided to commence an operation we call Swift Sting. Operation Swift Sting Operation. Swift Sting. That's the code name. And that's what we have started with this. We are not relying on our efforts. You are going to see more by God's grace. The point is, they just have to stop. If they don't stop, we will not stop too until we bring them down on their knees. So, what message are you? Let me correct you. It's not the people living in the border areas that are engaging mainly in smuggling. I'm not saying they are not doing it, but from my experience, people come from various parts of the country to engage in smuggling business. So my advice to all Nigerians and the people that are in the business is to desist from it. It doesn't pay.
Just before I round up this week edition of the program Customs Report, we brought a report where the country adjourned the Nigerian Customs Service has continued to implement all measures to make sure that the Nigerian Customs Service continue to improve our revenue generation for the country and also seize all consignment or approved also by the government. For me, Igiseme Engineer, thanks for watching.